Hey everybody, Northman Nature here. Today, I'm telling you why I quit fishing. And we're going to show you all sorts of plants that are useful on your hikes and all sorts of information about nature. So stay tuned. It's going to be a beautiful day. Got some cattails, and if you guys didn't know, the tubers on these cattails, which are similar to the roots of a potato, it's what's called a tuber. These are edible in survival situations. And as well, let's see here. This portion right here makes for excellent fire tinder. Sometimes, a little bit earlier than this, you'll be able to come out here and there'll be pollen on these. These will be yellow, and that's all edible too. On this side. So this plant right here is called bracken fern. This is one of the 3 types of ferns that you find up here, and you can tell that this is bracken fern by its structure. There's 1, 2, 3. You always see 3 in this shape. Look at all the bracken fern all around here. Now down here we do have small amounts of clover. This clover, if you use it in small amounts, it does have oxalic acid in it. This would be a good topping for wild harvest salads. Now here's another great plant. This plant here is called heelall. You can tell by these little purple flowers here. It's much easier to identify plants when the flowers are on them, but you can crush this up into a salve and apply it to wounds, and you can also use it Alright, so I'm pretty sure this is called bird's foot trifolium. No. But anyways, heelall can be used as an ibuprofen, and it's medicinal in many other ways as well. So you guys are probably wondering, why did I stop fishing? Well, I'll tell you exactly why. Because it's time for the next part of my journey, to teach you guys all sorts of things about nature beyond fishing itself. For me, I've fished for 20 years straight. And in the last year, I've fished just about every single day of the year. And during that time, I've created videos for you guys, all educational. And in that sense, I've found myself in nature with all the time that I've been able to fish. But for me, it doesn't make sense to enjoy nature when I can connect with it in other ways like this. I don't need to hook an animal in its mouth and drag it around its natural habitat while it fights for its life, right? I'm beyond that. And that's how I found myself, right? That's how I found that I'm very passionate about nature, and that my true passion is protecting nature, those who use it, and all the wildlife that's within it. So fish are so special to me because they are the catalyst that helped me to find myself in nature and find what my true passion is. So I want to do everything I can to protect fish. This means maybe I'm not fishing anymore, but instead I'm going on hikes like this and I'm showing you guys all the beauty that our wilds have. Alright, so right here, another prime example for you guys. This is dandelion. This is a fantastic wild harvest plant. It's very packed with vitamin K and all sorts of other vitamins. You can use the root for medicinal teas. You can use the leaves for wild harvest salads. And when it is flowering, the flower can be used to create teas as well. Yeah, smells like a lowland area to me. So if you guys didn't know, something pretty cool about nature and that we found is that there are different environmental types. So you can classify these by developing a radius to a certain feet metric, and within that area, let's say it's 50 feet by 50 feet. Here we go. Alright, quick side step here. So this plant right here is called common plantain. This is also similar to heal-all in the fact that you can use it for salves to heal wounds. And a salve is a macerated preparation where you break it down into a goop that you can slather on and apply. But if you're looking to find an environmental type, I've already done it for you. You can say, look, we have bracken fern. Then you can go to the birches and the aspens.
Right here I'm swatting away some mosquitoes because they were everywhere, but right here we've got some bunchberries, and these are beautiful little berries that you can use to make jams and all sorts of things.
I'm in the upper highlands area. And whether you know the terrain or not, the plants will tell you where you are. So in a survival situation, this will come in very key for you. And it also will help you, if you're looking for soil delineation, you can describe what types of soils will be present based upon the plants. A small amount of milkweed out here. So it is important when you're out here to stay on the trail and respect the wilderness. So there's no reason to be tromping around, spreading invasive species. Alright, right here we've got a beautiful oak tree. You can tell an oak tree from a maple. Here's a maple, it's got the pointed leaves, and oaks have rounded leaves. Now in areas like this that have been logged, as you can see to the left, there's a lot of newer growth. And what we're going to talk about is aspens. These smaller trees here, they're early successional growth, which means when there's a disturbance such as logging, the species that you're likely to find is going to be one of those early species like aspen. And those aspen basically are going to tell you, hey, look, this place was logged. You can tell, just look at all the aspens. Now typically around here, you'd be able to tell that logging occurred just because there isn't a wide range of variety out here. And there's just typically a lot of aspens.
This is going to be our second common fern that you can find readily available in the Wisconsin wilderness. This is called the cinnamon fern because the way its spores grow when it's getting towards fall, it looks kind of like cinnamon.
Now, there is a warning. I do not want you guys to come out here and use these plants that I've showed you. You need to be an expert so that you don't misidentify the plant and poison yourself. I will not be held responsible for your decisions in nature. I'll only be here to help educate you. Because I could show you a plant and you might think it's the same one when it's not. And that can put you in some serious danger. Like these mosquitoes are putting me in some danger right now. So what you can see here is a selective forest cut. They've taken a great majority of the forest here and they've taken it out, but they left it behind. So as I explained with the aspens, a year or two from now, you're going to be seeing aspens all over the place under this understory. And believe it or not, the healthiest forest that can withstand diseases and forest fires and all sorts of things like that is a mixed forest. It's going to have mixed ages. It's going to have older trees like these. And then it's going to have younger trees. It's going to have a nice understory. So in farming we talk about monocropping. That means mono. Mono means one. So the cropping of one thing. That's not what we want. Aho! Hello beauties, how are you today? Look, we've got 3 deer. It's a beautiful symbol. There's a young one there. We've got some other young ones, and they have their velvet coming in. It's mid-July, and these beauties right here are so special. Miigwech, wado. So, some of the words you'll hear me say are Ojibwe words. And the people who were here before us lived here for 13,000 years. It's much longer than the settlers have been here. After colonization, we've still only been here for 200 years. That's nothing. So what language does the nature respond to the best? I'd likely say the voice of the people of the land. The voice that it knows. And every single living creature out here has its own vibration, its own medicine. And in native culture, it is described as manidu. That means that everything, even this stick here, is inhabited by a living being. And so when we say animals don't have feelings, plants don't have feelings, you'd be surprised to find out that aspens and mushrooms can actually connect their roots in the living soil for miles and create giant colonies that speak to each other. And they can signal danger, they can signal that they need sugars, etc. And what we have here is a whole bunch of oaks that have been left. This is going to be excellent forage for squirrels and herbivores such as the white-tailed deer. So not all forestry is bad. Sometimes it does improve the land if it's done respectfully. It's actually a very beautiful area. And if you look up, you can see the moon with all these oak trees. Now, if you knew it or not, our national forests, for the most part, weren't created to protect the land, unfortunately. They were created to protect forestry, to make a sustainable source of logs for production of paper, houses, anything that uses wood. Now, as long as we continually log in a cycle that supports nature, it's not harmful, because all of our wood sequesters carbon within the air. The carbon that we produce as humans. And these trees can be replanted over and over again to grow. But every tree is a living being, so we must treat it with respect. To the native people, trees were elders and are elders. What does that mean? That means to take a tree is a sacred thing. So your house is a very special place. It's made of trees, right? Alright, and here we go. This is another type of fern we've got. We've got fern number 3.
The sensitive fern, known to be up to 60 million years old. And it's called the sensitive fern because, well, it's a little sensitive when winter time comes.
And that what makes them so special. So there we have it. We've got bracken ferns and one type of fern there, and other fern. Now, forgive me that I've forgotten some of these, but it's been a while. I've been fishing, like I said, for a year straight, so some of these things I've forgotten. So if you guys are liking the new style of educational content, rather than educating about fishing and how to protect the land, clean it up, take care of fish ethically, I'm all for it. For me, I'm only going to be treating fishing like hunting from now on, where I catch a fish only if I'm going to be using it to eat. And in the same sense, I'm going to do it as ethically as possible. As soon as it's out of the water, I'm going to bonk it and put it in the cooler, so it suffers as little as possible. Just in the same sense as hunting. I'm not out here for the sport anymore. And I think it's fine if you practice ethical fishing. That was the catalyst for me to find out that I want to protect the land. I want to protect the people who use it and the wildlife who live in it. So as you can see, we're changing a little bit from wetlands, and we're gaining a slight amount of elevation. You can tell it just by the amount of water that's present and the types of vegetation. I am surprised that we saw those deer, but I think it was spirit, aligning with us out here. because usually if you're talking like this and you're being loud, I'm surprised I even hear some birds right now. So we do have some brambles here. Some of these are likely to produce berries later, whether it be blackberries, raspberries, or the fantastic mixed black raspberry. We will see. Our raspberry bushes are already producing. Woo! That was an interesting bug in my ear. So what we're out here for today, beyond just telling you guys my story and giving you some education, is I came out here to find this creek that meanders through some of my favorite roads out here. And there's an impoundment out here. I'm pretty excited to go to this. We're gonna get some drone footage for you guys today to mix into this video, and I hope you enjoy it. So here we have some wild grasses. These wild grasses are very important. Why are they important? Well, grasses can travel very deep into the soil. Corn plants will go 20 feet in depth down into the soil. Why is this important? Well, roots that can penetrate systems and spread out create a fibery mass that not only help microbial life, and they also help carbon be created within the soil, organic matter, which is what all plants use as a catalyst to grow. But they also prevent erosion with that big mast. And every year they lay down and die, they senesce. That means that they're creating a mat. A fibrous mat it's a fibrous mat that will turn into organic matter over time. And what's important about those fibrous mats is that we come out into places like this, right, and you see this black, dark earth. Well, that's been being created by years and years of fibrous deposition, which creates layers of soil. So grasses create our soils, and our soils uphold all this other beauty. It's what the plants anchor in. It's what they live in. A little oxeye daisy right here. It's a little beautiful guy, oxeye daisy. And the difference between native languages and English, which came from Old English, which was an Anglo. Anyways, our words just name things. Where something like thank you, it means I'm grateful. Where miigwech can be translated to thank you, but its deeper meaning is thank you to all things. I understand, I see. So native languages don't just name things. They provide for a deeper meaning. It's a communication barrier that's created in English that I hope to escape someday by learning the language of the land. It's been scientifically proven that native language resonates with the earth. That you can see vibrational signals on spectrum analyzers and even thermal readouts that occur when native drumming circles and other things happen in sacred areas. Now this guy right here is likely a turkey feather. Just so grateful to be out here today, guys. It's just absolute beautiful change of pace for me. Hiking was one of the things that started it all for me. Camping, hiking, and fishing. Because where do we really come from? We don't come from cities. We were born in nature. And we were a part of the land. At one point, there were tribal communities all throughout the world after the inception of people. There were no cities. There were people who lived in balance with the land and took care of it. So that's why we have this urge, whether you see it or not in yourself, to come out and find peace in nature, to reconnect with where we actually came from. This is where our roots are from. Pick up your shells when you're out here. It's a simple thing to do. But that's why people yearn to go camping. They yearn to go fishing. They yearn to go on hikes. Because we used to, as I've said, harvest all of these plants and use them. We never took too much, and we lived in balance. And for me, that's what's most important. Living in balance with all life. There's all sorts of common plantain. Here's a great example of some more common plantain. I'll show you size to my sunglasses here. And it'll get very big. The leaves will grow 4 times the size. But just as any other plant, it's usually most tender when it's in a smaller state. Now right here, we have white clover. You can tell it's white clover because it produces a white flower. It'll also be shorter than red clover is. Now, clovers are a special species because just like grass, they promote plant communities. Clovers work with a bacteria in the soil to fixate nitrogen. That means they draw nitrogen out of the air and put it into the soil. Now, nitrogen is responsible mainly for the green color you see in these trees here and all the life around it. Right here we've got a little bit of ragweed. And if you can have a mix of grasses and clovers, well, one of the most prominent nutrients that grasses look for are actually nitrogen because they're quick growing. So they're always a high demand for nitrogen. So especially in farming, we rotate crops. So one year we'll have corn, which is a grass. Then the next year we'll have alfalfa or a clover hay mix. And all of these plants fixate nitrogen. So it's all about replenishing what the last cycle lost. But in my opinion, alright, so this is a special grass here. I forget what it's called, but you can tell by this top here. Oh, we've got some frogs in there. It's beautiful. So you know if an ecosystem is healthy, if amphibians and reptiles are present. Those amphibians and reptiles are the most sensitive creatures to poisons, runoff, and non-point source pollution. So when you start seeing the frogs and the reptiles disappear, you know something is wrong with the environment. And a fun fact is, these frogs and amphibians don't require the same type of energy that we do. They don't work off of thermal processes where our cells have to use energy that we consume to stay warm These amphibians use the sun to stay warm and the water to cool off. So what does this mean? They're much more energy efficient beings, and they account for almost all of the biomass that we see animals can eat, like herons, eagles, predators. They can eat turtles, amphibians, etc. with low cost to the environment, where like eating something like a cow or a deer, well, that animal had to eat a lot more to stay productive and stay alive. So here we've got the creek I told you guys about. It's very beautiful. And I am excited to be here. I don't know that I see any fish. But that's not what we're here for. We're going to take a little break here and get some footage for you guys. How beautiful this is.
So nice to meet you. I smell it on the pillow when she leaves, yeah. And when I think about it, get that feeling. Get it in the morning when I'm ready. Smell like gardenia. I smell it on the pillow when she leaves, yeah. And when I think about it, get that feeling. Get it in the morning when I'm ready. Sweet sense of me. How the garden grow, how it bloom and what it teach you. Started as a seed, now I'm walking through the jungle. Between green leaves, no, we not looking for no trouble. So what's the story? Known a lot of people, but I never seen a vision quite like you. And I was smiling when you walked in. Never left my face since then, it's hypnotizing. So nice to meet you. I smell it on the pillow when she leaves, yeah. And when I think about it, get that feeling. Get it in the morning when I'm ready. Smell like gardenia. I smell it on the pillow when she leaves, yeah. And when I think about it, get that feeling. I get it in the morning when I'm ready. What's that reason? All I ever knew and all I do and why I'm breathing. Teacher used to yell from slapping pizza on the table. Now I gotta get it.
So one last point that I want to hit on, guys, is that these wetland areas are extremely important. They filter out all of the runoff from farms, the phosphorus, and they actually provide hundreds of thousands of dollars of value per wetland, in the sense that if you were to build a water filtration plant, this would do the same thing for us. So when we're assessing value of an ecosystem, which, I mean, doesn't make sense, but in today's world where we live in a capitalistic society, we have to assign value to protect lands. So we could say, well, if you were to destroy this wetland, that's going to cost you $1 million. And this is actually how the Department of Natural Resources and the federal government will judge natural areas when they're thinking about selling them, using them. And unfortunately, that's one of the best ways that we can protect them, is by assigning value. Now, clearly there's already a natural value out here. You can find peace here. That doesn't matter to capitalists. You can find wild food that's not tainted with pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers. Natural, organic food can be found here. Wild harvest. So we're gonna get one more drone flight for you guys through this beautiful oak forest, and we will go from there. And I'm gonna toss in a nice video for you guys today. I really like making cinematic videos. I call them films because, I mean, if you go and look at some other content, you're gonna see pretty quick that I use some of the best technology capable to capture the true, pure, unadulterated beauty of nature. This camera records in 10 billion colors. So you're seeing just about everything that my eyes are seeing out here. And we're recording in the highest format possible. That's available to your TV right now. I can record in 5.3K, but our pixel density is set to 4K. So make sure you go into your settings on your TV, on your YouTube app, and turn this video to 4K to appreciate nature to its fullest extent out here. Now, some of you may think, well, I'm going out in nature, and what I need is bug spray. Well, you'd be wrong. What you need is layers. Because if you can stay hydrated, none of these biting insects are going to be able to penetrate your layers of clothing. And you won't have to be applying chemicals to your body over and over again while your skin absorbs those and your lungs breathe the smoke clouds of freaking DEET in. And I would say you don't even need to use natural insect repellents. This right here has worked for me for so many years. And you might say mosquitoes, they're a pest. But in all reality, mosquitoes and other insects are the very base of our food chain. So if you're not eating organic, unfortunately, you are leading to the decline of pollinators and insects in general. And why is that a problem? Well, insecticides actually kill, and for the most part are non-selective. So any insect, whether it's a pest to the crop that's growing or not, will be damaged and likely die. And the root of method that these insecticides work, for the most part, is it actually inhibits neuronal activity. So the neurons inside of the insect are inhibited to the point where it makes them fire over and over again, which leads an insect to twitch to death. It's basically expending all of its energy uncontrollably until it dies. And I've seen it. It's an absolutely disgusting thing. And ever since, I've eaten it as organic and wild as possible. And I know it's not affordable for everyone, but if you can do what you do and can do to grow your own garden, that's going to leave you in a better state already. But back to the insects. They may be annoying, but they are important. Because just like the amphibians and the reptiles are an amazing source of food, so are the insects. Birds, reptiles, everything feeds off of these insects. And, well, believe it or not, if you like hunting turkeys can eat hundreds of ticks in a day, if not thousands. Swallows, obviously you don't hunt those, and even dragonflies will annihilate mosquitoes. And even bugs themselves are beneficial in pest control. Let's say you have an issue in your garden with aphids or another pest. You can use beneficial insects that are predatory, such as the red ladybug or the praying mantis, and spiders. All of these insects and arachnids are natural forms of pest control. And there's actually places on the internet where you can buy these and have them shipped to your door to use in your garden. So just another way that you guys can live more naturally and respect what might be thought as an annoyance. For me, I appreciate every living thing that's out here, and it provides value. Whether it's annoying or not, the ecosystem is created the way it is. So if you like to fish, the fishing is made possible by the insects. And the insects are made possible by the plants and other insects. And if we're using too many pesticides, herbicides, all of this goes up the food chain. You can't have a perfect ecosystem. You cannot have a perfect ecosystem without every single part of an ecosystem. It boils down to the macroinvertebrates. That means insects that have just hatched in the water prior to becoming winged or being able to crawl. This is what smaller fish eat. And then amphibians and reptiles eat those fish, and birds, and so on and so on. And obviously you know how the food chain works. So, especially commercial fishermen, they're thinking about, how many lobsters can I get out of the sea today? Well, if you're crabbing or lobstering out of season, you're annihilating the resource. We have regulations on purpose. Regulations are created because there's stories, like I've been telling you, that have led to the creation of laws so that we can always enjoy a pristine backwoods country. If we harvested deer in the middle of winter towards spring, guess what? Not only would we be harvesting a doe or a buck, but inside of those does are the next year's offspring. And the same goes for fishing, crabbing. That's why we have seasons and dates, so that these animals can reproduce time and time again, so that our children's children can enjoy our resources. So if you guys have stuck around, if you ladies and gentlemen have stuck around this long, I just want to say thank you very much. And I hope this has been educational to you. And the new rebranding of Northman Fishing is now Northman Nature, where one day I could teach you bushcraft techniques, how to turn mud and grasses into a plaster that you can put over a house that you're making of sticks out here. Now you have to check your regulations when it comes to doing that, but I'm going to be showing you guys everything I know that I've learned over the last 20 years, whether it be how to make jams from wild berries or complex things like taking acorns and leaching the saponins out of them and the tannins so that you can create acorn pancakes. Now, as I said, if you're going to wild harvest yourself, I'm not responsible for anything that happens to you. Now, although I am usually correct in the plants that I'm telling you, it takes years and years of experience to be able to properly identify these plants. So you can't just go out there one day and just start eating anything and everything you think is edible. That's dangerous. But if you get a book, you start watching videos, you take some classes, you spend time in nature, you will grow, and you will find that you can live off the land. And every year I harvest deer so that I don't have to eat beef, so that I'm not eating things that have been contaminated with glyphosates from non-organic monocropping. And venison's fantastic. It's much more rich in nutrients than beef is. And well, I'm pretty sure it would make sense to you to understand why. Because most cows are fed one thing, or a blend of three things. That usually blends down to alfalfas, different types of grains, and maybe some fillers. We're out here, the deer are able to browse. Nature is the deer's salad. And when you live in a restaurant, I tell you what, you're going to be living close to the land and feeling great every day. So this landscape reminds me of what is known as an oak savanna. An oak savanna was something that was home to our state. There's not many left now. But oak savannas were created over time. As wildfires happened, the oak trees, which are thick and dense, resisted the fires. And there were areas just like this, where you'd come, there'd be a great spacing of great oak trees. And I think it's special. Instead of just having a multi-story forest, you have this forest that's similar to a plain or a savanna.
Alright guys, guess what's right here? An absolutely amazing stick insect. Wow. Check that out. That is special. You have a great day, buddy.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, well, there's not another one like it yet, but I've got old fishing content that you can watch over here, and you can subscribe down here. So, it's all about nature now, protecting it, and educating you guys everything I know. So, thank you guys. God bless.